Hello, 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 hello. It's Lila here. And how are you today? Namaste, friend. There was a moment, there were some moments, a period of moments back in 2001 that were very namaste, that were very uniting, I would say. And it came after a big destruction, a big catastrophe of sorts, right? 9/11, 2001, when the Twin Towers were hit. And I just want to share a little bit about my reflections this morning. I've been up pretty early and feeling really reflective. And I'm curious if you are too. It was a moment in time where we all knew where we were. Right? You all remember, if you were of the age to be able to remember where you were. And I'll just tell a little bit about my story. And really what I want to share is the reflection that I've been doing this morning. I woke up around 3 a.m., 3:30, between there. I heard a couple, actually, jets going by, that low rumble. I grew up in Dayton, Ohio, right next to the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. I actually, the bus that I took to school always went by the Air Force Museum. I went to Wright State University right by that. You can see I'm like mapping it out for you. Can you tell I know the area well? The Air Force Base, went to university right by it. One of my favorite things was to drive on the backside of the base area to school from where I lived, and would see all the groundhogs. So if my girlfriend Janice Corner, Janice Kinder now, is out there, I love you, girl. We used to drive to school together with our little coffee mugs and our hazelnut creamer, jamming to like Tupac or something, or Backstreet Boys. And we would see these groundhogs on the way. And we would scream out the window, groundhog! Groundhog! It was so fun, so fun. But I grew up with airplanes in the sky, and people would come visit Ohio, and they would be in awe because they fly really low, and some of them are massive. They're huge, especially there's huge freight airplanes that carry like big tanks and stuff. They're huge, and they fly really low. So like, for example, I dated a guy whose parents had a house right really close to the base, and like we could just sit outside and watch them go over like all the time. And so airplanes were a big part of me growing up. And so I have a fascination with airplanes. I love them. If somebody's talking to me and I see an airplane, I'm like going to stop them to talk and say, hey, look up. I love them. I've been to, like, the first museum I went to here in Colorado there's an Air Force or an airplane museum, I think somewhere south of town, east of town somewhere, I forget, but I went there and it was super fun. It was really beautiful. So this morning I woke up and it was interesting because hearing the jets go, and I know it's 9/11, there was a moment of fear, to be honest. And then a moment later, really, it was like a moment like fear, and I was like, I'm aware of fear, what it feels like now, very aware. And I was like, what would I do? What would I do now versus then? And the first thing that came to mind was food. I would get people together and feed them and help them feel better. And we would probably do some prayer, some meditation, some singing, some music. I like drums, can you tell? Something just really sweet and lifting the vibration. So when this happened and then, this morning I woke up and then I got out, I went outside and there were some planes coming over and really bright lights and just a lot of reflection. And so in 2001, in August, about a month before 9/11, I moved to New York for graduate school. I was 22 and very hopeful about saving the world, studying environmental policy at Bard College, about an hour and a half north of the city. And the director of the program was a brand new program. The director of the program was the former director of the United Nations Environment Program. She was a big part of the Kyoto Protocol for climate change. She just had done so much stuff. We had, Gautam Sethi, namaste, my friend, love you. everybody else, very high level, amazing academic leaders in the world. And I was gifted with the opportunity to go there. I chose that as a school, went there, went to New York City, traveled around, saw all this cool stuff. Christopher said that day was so ominous because of the deafening silence. Even nature took a moment to pause. Yeah, you could feel it in the air, right? I could kind of feel it this morning. Same silence, stillness. So when I moved to New York, I got to go around New York City. So about a week earlier, before 9/11, I was there, Twin Towers. And then I was in class on 9/11. Somebody came in and said something. A plane had hit. We went down the hallway and watched it on the television, the second plane. I still thought it was all a hoax. I thought somebody got a hold of the TV station and like some computer generated thing. I just couldn't believe it. It was so, they say, I don't know if it's true, but they say when the Native Americans saw boats coming, they didn't really see them because it didn't really seem real, probably. I don't know if that story is 100% true, but I can imagine something like that because that was my experience that day as a 22-year-old woman was, this can't be real. There's no way that can't happen. And so, living in New York at that point, really being steeped in a lot of people that were affected by it, I was really affected, like a lot of people were around the country, around the world. Then when our president decided to go to war, I became very angry. Okay, so that's what I was reflecting on today. I was reflecting on there was a time in history, not that long ago, 18 years ago, where we all were united based upon a catastrophe. And I was like, huh. And it really, I believe, I was talking to Elle Ingalls, my accountability partner this morning. And it was a time where, people got to see America, different sides of America, the loving part of America during that time. And that's really special. And I know that we all have that. We all have that still in us. We are very strong people. I really believe in us. We're rogue. We're a little wild too. I love that about us. So, there was that moment of a feeling of, like Christopher said, of a pause, of silence, right? And I'm sure everybody remembers that, and of unity. And then there started to be some blaming and shaming and rifts in our country and with other countries. And then, so things started to break out. And as a young buck, what is girl deers called? Doe, a young doe. I was angry. I was studying environmental policy, and I was going to one of the most liberal schools in the entire nation. So I was studying politics and the environment, and you can imagine this war and all of this stuff going on wasn't good for from my standpoint, wasn't good for us politically and wasn't good for us environmentally. And I got really angry. I was very angry for the entire 8 years of W's presidency. And I was marching in the streets in New York City, marching in the streets in little towns against the war. And, it was also a time I was living in New York. I had a boyfriend in Ohio. I was really insecure. I was always scared that he wouldn't love me. He was one of the most loving people I've ever had in my life, actually. And so I just was recalling that young girl and how driven she was to try to save the world and make the world a better place. And I still have that. It's just softer and gentler now. I'm still pretty freaking intense, just to get real. But now, if that were to happen, if something were to happen in our country, I invite people over and feed them. Hey, you want some guacamole? Give some hugs, play some music, lift the vibe, right? I wouldn't go to the streets and march anymore. It's not, I'm not saying don't. We need people on all fronts in the world. But my personality in the last 18 years has changed from a firecracker to more of a slow burn. And it's just interesting to observe my path. It makes me emotional. I'm like kind of shaky in the voice. I can feel it. And I was talking to Elle this morning. I've done a lot of, since my divorce in 2013, I've done a lot of work on myself. And I realized that I'm the creator of my own life, and that I get to choose happiness or sadness or anger and all the things. And I didn't know that back then, right? I also have pressure free. I don't have to really stress. Even if things trigger me, I have tools to get out of it. So I don't have to actually feel that pressure and that stress and the jitteriness and the ick. I was also in 2001 in graduate school, one of the hardest academic parts of my entire academic career, which is a lot of time. It was just freaking hard, really hard. And anybody in the program would tell you it was hard. And all the professors would say it's hard. So it was hard. I know it, they told me. So it was a really hard time. I was really under stress and pressure. And I used to sit in bed and do write my thesis. And I would go to the grocery store and get 2-pound bags of Reese's Pieces or peanut M&Ms. And I'd be in New York, writing my thesis with peanut M&Ms, with a boyfriend far away, and scared I wasn't going to be loved, right? Not sure if my writing and my career was just perfect enough. Angry about the war, right? Lonely, eating. I ended up getting a belly a little bit. Graduate school, I just ate myself. I couldn't find any other form of happiness. Actually, until I found yoga. I didn't know that was going to come out in this video. Oh my gosh, I'm so joyed all of a sudden. Yeah. I found yoga right after 9/11. Totally forgot about it. I remember thinking, what are these hippie dippies doing? Why are they just laying on the ground at the end of class? That's weird. It's all dark in there. And they're just wearing sweatpants and stuff. They're not even wearing gym clothes. That's what a Midwest girl thought. That's weird. And then one day I was in Pilates class, sweating my bum off. And then I stayed for the yoga class. And it felt really freaking good. And I ended up going all the freaking time. This little lady that taught it was hilarious. And I loved it. I actually forgot about that until just now. I haven't told that story in years, probably. I'll tell that maybe more of the story later. It'd be cool to find that lady. She's so cool. But yeah, yoga actually at that point, fitness in general. I was doing yoga, I was doing weightlifting, I was doing Pilates, I was doing fitness classes, aerobics. I was actually doing personal training. I was the ball girl at soccer games. I've always been a little hustler. All right. So I was doing all sorts of stuff back then. Fitness was the thing that helped keep my mind straight back in graduate school because of all the schooling and the 9/11 stress and just that being far away from home and my loved ones. It was really hard. And fitness, the gym, right, was the place that helped me keep sane, helped me keep steady, healthy. It's really cool to remember that. I'm grateful for this moment with you. I didn't know this was going to come out, so thank you. So I'm curious, what's changed in the last 18 years for you? What, especially with your coping? If something were to happen now, what would you do? It sounds like food's still involved with my coping. I just don't eat M&Ms and stuff. I make healthy food to bring people over. We don't change that much, apparently. What else? I would do prayer. I had no prayer. I had no spirituality in my life back then. I didn't believe. I was very much of a scientist, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. I wouldn't have called myself an atheist, but I would not have called myself a believer at all. I thought all of it was bullshit. Because all I'd ever heard was bullshit. There's lots of other forms and experiences. And it just took my, soul period of time until it wanted to wake up and show itself a little bit more. Right? What would I do now? I'd be curious. What would you do now? I'd feed people. That's really that's really my reflection. Is I'm no longer the high stress, high strung. I'm still an intense woman. Don't get me wrong. You come and you're gonna get some. You're gonna feel something. But I'm not stressed. I'm not insecure about not being loved. I'm always loved. I have lots of love in my life. Always. I always have. We always have. We all do. Even if we don't recognize it at the time, we always do. I won't get angry about the things going on in the world anymore. I'll step back and observe and see, how can I help? What can I do to raise a vibration? And it might just be dancing in the living room, right? It might just be connecting with you. It might just be petting my kitty. My kitty right now, I love it because I could be in my room right now like yelling. I'm not yelling, but I'm talking. Talking. He's out. Little poof ball out. Like, this is what I'm more interested in, my little poof ball kitty. This is what I'm more interested in, connecting with you, working on my business, building a beautiful career. Oh, look at this. Kitty just woke up as I'm talking about him. It's so adorable. Now he's going to try to beg me to go turn on the water. So I probably should go because he kind of runs the show around here. So anyways, I would be curious. I lived in New York. During 9/11, I remember the need for blood drives. I remember friends and losing family members, and I remember not being able to go to the city for a period of time for a variety of reasons. I remember going to the city a lot when there were Israeli troops carrying massive guns, like this big, huge guns, like just in New York City. It was scary, so weird. And I was scared. I was like a scared little girl. And now, as a woman, lots of room to grow, but as a woman, I see my role more as a space holder for peace. Food, fuel, love, truth-telling, support. So if anything goes down in Monkey Town, I'm here for you. I'll feed you, I'll give you love, and help you find peace in your heart. It's really, really where the life path has brought me to now. So I'm grateful, so grateful for today. Definitely feel very reflective. I have some beautiful calls set up with people, and then I've got one of my clients is coming in town, and we're going to do a speaker training this afternoon together. It's going to be beautiful. But until then, I'm just going to do some work and do some yoga, bowspring, of course, not yoga, bowspring yoga, and just be grateful. Be grateful for the woman that I've become, the understanding of everything's meant to be just as it is. It's all meant to unfold. Not to say that was a good thing, bad thing, not qualifying it, just saying that it's all meant to happen and it helps us grow, right? And this is a day where we all get to come together and reflect a little bit. So where were you, as an American? And if you're from outside of the country, I'm sure that you remember as well, because it was something that affected the whole world. Things that affect America affect the whole world because I won't even go into that. That's a conversation for another day. I love you guys. If you need help figuring out how to be calmer, right, less stressed, less angry, let me know. Healthier. If you need to know how to use fitness, how to use your body to get through the hard times, the uncertain times, let me know, because it really does work. The body is key to keeping going. And sometimes I'll tell my clients to breathe or to get present, get in their body. They don't like that advice sometimes, and sometimes they do. But really, it's the key to moving forward faster, because the brain is a stress place sometimes. So if you are sad today, or if you've lost anybody, if you have people in your life that you miss because of 9/11, I'm sending you many, 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 many extra sparkly love vibes. Okay? Namaste, friends. My heart goes out to you. Your heart is wonderful. Stay there and just keep breathing. All right.